Kia ora tātou and happy Halloween, everyone. Welcome to a special Halloween edition of the Great New Zealand Book Trip. I'm streaming live from our dungeon, where all our hell goblins and ghouls live when they're not making pizzas for you. At Hell, we absolutely love Halloween. It's our favorite time of the year, and we love celebrating it in our stores. And it's the one time of the year that we get to decorate our stores and with awesome Halloween decorations, and all our teams in the stores also get all dressed up and enjoy the Halloween spirit with you and all our customers. So if you live near a store, pop in and say hello. I'm Siang, the marketing manager at Hell, and I'll be introducing a very special guest, Halloween guest for today. Then a little later on, I'll come back and run through some questions that some of you guys had for her, and then announce the two winners of today's book, which is The Lion Eats Cake. So now it's time to welcome our special Halloween guest. It's an absolute privilege to have Ruth Paul with us for this special spooky reading for Halloween. Ruth is an illustrator and a writer of many beloved books, including Lion Guards the Cake, today's prize, which won the Picture Book Awards category at the New Zealand Book Awards for children and young adults. Ruth lives on a small farm, for those of you that have just joined us, not far from Wellington, where she writes and illustrates all of her books. She's also recently become a New Zealand Arts Foundation laureate. So without any further ado, I'll hand over to Ruth and enjoy, and I'll see you later on.
Okay. Kia ora, everyone. Welcome. It's so weird having you out there on the other side of my screen, but you're actually in my studio, which is kind of small and kind of messy. And all you can see behind me is a blackboard, because I thought partway through this morning we'll make up a story on the spot and we'll draw it out old school on a blackboard, kind of like Halloween story maybe. And actually, Siang, I think you're making that up. I think that's your bedroom, isn't it? That's not really the Hell offices. Come on.
Just don't tell anyone.
I just got to say, no dungeons in my house, just a few sheep and the odd dog that shouldn't be there, you know. But so this morning, I'm going to read you, to start off with, I write and illustrate picture books. So that means I write the stories and I draw the pictures as well. And I know that with all of you out there this morning, some of you are 5 years old, some of you are 3 years old, some of you are 13 years old. So the story I'm reading this morning is actually for really little kids. And you can help me say some of the noises all the way through. There's a lot of booing goes on. So when I go, boo, you'll be looking at the pictures, but you might see me go, boo, and you can say it with me if you want to. Just be careful, because you might drown out your teachers who are trying to tell you to be quiet. And if you're older, just imagine that you're a little kid, because we've all got a little kid in us and we've all got little brothers and sisters. So today I'm going to read you Cookie Boo, which is, oh, it's got a shiny cover, you see, so I'm going to make all the reflections go weird. And it's actually published in the USA, so we call it Cookie Boo. When I wrote it, it could have been Biscuit Boo if it was going to be published in the UK. But see, we have different words for different countries sometimes. And in New Zealand, we kind of go either way. So without too much fuss, I'm going to screen share so that you can see the pictures up there. Let me see if I do this and I do this and I do this. Do you get a Cookie Boo up there?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. Okay, and you can still see me a little bit. You reckon? Okay, so I'm going to read here and you can read along with me. So Cookie Boo by me, Ruth Paul. 7 spooky cookies sitting in a tin, waiting for the moonlight to let the magic in. Trick or treat, lift the lid. In the moonlight streams. Boo! Yell the cookies, and little monster screams. Ah! Out climb the cookies, jumping to the floor. Boo! Yell the cookies to doggy by the door. Look at that dog. What's that? down through the garden, out in the street. Are you ready? Oh, yell the cookies to everything they meet. Oh, look at those monsters running away. Boo to the lamppost. Boo to the car. Boo to the fireflies flashing in the jar. Boo to the skeleton. Boo to the ghost. Ready? Boo to the witch's cat sitting on a post. I think it's really funny that the witch's cat there is black and it's meeting a little black cookie, Halloween cookie. 7 spooky cookies playing on the slide. Do they see the furry feet poking out the side? Who's been following them? Boo, says little monster, tricking all the treats. Yummy, scrummy cookies, now you're mine to eat. Uh-oh. Run, spooky cookies, scatter to and fro. Boo-hoo, cries Baby Bat. He's got me by the toe. Oh no, what to do? Cookies crisp with fright. Climb into a pumpkin and huddle round the light. I've just got to say, Siang's face is over my words here, so I'm slightly making it up. Quiet, spooky, that's me, that's my technology. Quiet, spooky cookies, don't drop any crumbs. Outside there's a monster. Shh, here he comes. Hairy, scary monster, round the pumpkin creeps. Boo, yell the cookies, and the little monster leaps. I think that monster thinks it's the pumpkin that's booing at him. Uh-oh. Scramble, spooky cookies, flee with Baby Bat. Bat past the happy ghost, howling with the cat. Bat past the skeleton, dancing all about. Bat past the fireflies, but let the critters out. Back through the garden to Doggy by the door. Shh, no, quietly, listen to him snore. Can you do me a big doggy snore? Yeah, that's him. Scale the walls, lift the lid, every cookie in. Are you ready? Phew, sigh the cookies, safely in their tin. That end. So that is a really simple Halloween story. And I'm stopping sharing. Do I have you back?
Yes, yeah, that's back.
So yeah,
That was awesome.
It's a short book and not too scary for really little people if you're reading Halloween stories to them. So there we go.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. That was yeah, it's great. It's a great Halloween story, especially like you said, especially for the young kids.
Yeah,
because Halloween sometimes can be a little bit scary for some people, but yeah, it's awesome.
it's funny that, isn't it? Because I think it's a time that like stories and songs and things about all the fears that we have and all the stuff that we're generally quite creeped out about. It's like one time where everybody gets together and they can face it together. So it's kind of a, I don't know, it's almost an anti-anxiety thing because you go right there and you run around and be scary all night and then you're done with it and then you just get on with it.
Yeah. And the reality of it, it's actually when you see it in front of you, it's hopefully not too scary, you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty scary Halloween critters out there. Even this morning, actually. Even this morning. Hey, I might do a Halloween story on the board behind me. And sometimes when I go to schools, kids go, how do you get your ideas? And to me, they're just everywhere all the time. It's the thing is being able to tune into them and pull all these random thoughts together and try and make a structure that you can make a story out of. So I was thinking, if I can't do that today, because sadly, people out there, I can't really interact with you, but Siang and I can. So I can try this experiment and see if it works. And just beware, it's Halloween, so it could go terribly wrong. This is live Zooming in the classroom. So what I'm going to do is just grab 3 random words and we'll try and make up a story that's got something to do with Halloween as we go. And I'll try and draw some bits from it, just to help me think. Sometimes because I draw pictures, I think better when I illustrate as well. So I'm going to come up with the first word and I'm going to say, because it's Halloween, I'm just going to say ghost. There's a ghost in this story. Look, like that. It's going to have a little white outfit. And Siang, can you just chuck me 2 more random words that can go on my story?
Right. My son, he's 2 years old and he's scared of dinosaurs. So dinosaur can be one. And my daughter, who is 4 years old for Halloween, she's scared of vegetables. So we'll go dinosaur and vegetables.
Yeah, they can be very, very scary, especially if you're expecting a treat and you get a vegetable. See, those 3 words, ghost, dinosaur, and vegetable, and I've already got a little idea in my head, because sometimes when I start a story, I just want to know what the end is, and I want to write the end first sometimes, because especially if you're writing in rhyme, you can go down so many side paths. You know, rhymes lead you off into different places. So having an ending in mind is really cool. And I'm thinking it's got something to do with, instead of getting treats for Halloween, you get offered vegetables. So let's see if I can do this, and hopefully you can all see me. If I'm drawing up here, can you see me okay? Yeah?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to start with, sometimes your stories have to be set somewhere. And I'm thinking, if I've got a ghost and a dinosaur, I'm going to go for something like mountains and prehistoric forest, because the dinosaur could still be hiding in this prehistoric forest. And because I've got vegetables, I'm thinking people. I need a village or something where they grow vegetables. So I'm just going to start with a village. Let's go. Okay, so we've got some houses. You can see this in a minute when I turn around. I'm just going to draw some really bad houses. Little village. We've got front doors and windows. Sian, tell me if you can't see anything, won't you?
Yep.
So it's a little village. I don't know what kind of village. You have to work that out at some point. But a little village, and they've got like a little path that they've got pumpkins all around the edges of, because it's Halloween. So there's some Halloween pumpkins going around. You know, sometimes people put them on their driveways and they light it up on Halloween night. So this is what they're doing here. They've got some pumpkins. And the people who live in this village, they've been there for many, many years. And they love celebrating Halloween. But recently, here's my little village. No, I'm going the wrong way. Can you see my village? Yeah.
Yep.
Recently, what's been happening that is bad over the last couple of years is that a ghost has moved in to a nearby cave in the mountains. And here we have the mountain, and here we have a cave inside the mountain, and here we have our ghost. Can you see this dude happening on my board?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little bit off the corner. Okay. Ghost has big spooky eyes, and I won't give him teeth, because you know why I won't give my ghost teeth, and it's the very reason that ghosts don't have teeth sometimes, is this ghost really loves sweet treats, really loves Halloween, really loves lollies, and he's eaten so many he's lost all his teeth. So there he is, got no teeth. And what he's done, oh, what else do we have in caves? We have sometimes, very Halloween-y, we have some of these dudes. Bats, yes. This is my little vampire bat in the cave. And some spider webs, right? We're just going to put some spider webs in the cave there. But what our ghost has done, actually, Sian, do you have a name for my ghost? It's a very greedy ghost. This is a ghost.
Oh.
Come on, things. Okay, I'll let you think about some names. What?
Okay. Harold.
Harold?
Yeah. Harold the greedy ghost.
Okay, we're just going to write his name here.
Okay.
As in Herald,
Yep.
or Harold?
Yep.
Harold. Okay,
Yep.
Harold the greedy ghost. Okay, so Harold, in the couple of years that Harold's lived in the cave in the mountain, he started raiding the villages every Halloween night. And instead of going trick-or-treating, he's really lost the plot. He just turns up, goes straight through the front doors, because he doesn't have to knock, because he doesn't ask, and he takes all the treats, and he steals absolutely every sweet thing they've got in the village. So this is him down here with his piles of bowls full of lollies and candy sticks and lollipops and everything that the villagers make that's delicious, he just steals all of it and takes it all back to his cave, where he slowly gobbles it all up and doesn't leave any for the villagers at all. He's very, very greedy. So nobody's going to do that tonight, are they? You're going to be very polite if you go outside and knock on people's doors. And you're going to say nice things and take away your few tiny sweets. So this is the greedy ghost. The greedy ghost sitting on top of all his baskets of lollies in his cave. Now, the one thing Harold, the ghost, doesn't realize is that the villagers have this long-standing, very respectful relationship with someone who lives in the forest behind the village. So let's just do a bit of forest behind this village. And living up in this forest behind the village, who have we still got in our story here? We have a dinosaur. So let's put the dinosaur up here somehow. Does this look like a dinosaur yet? It's going to be a dinosaur.
Almost.
The only thing is, I wanted this to be a herbivorous dinosaur, but I think I'm actually drawing a T-Rex. So it's a kind of a T-Rex, herbivorous T-Rex, a very rare T-Rex that doesn't eat meat because he gets on really well with the villagers, and otherwise he would have entirely eaten the villagers, as we know. So this is our T-Rex here. He's going to have some spikes all the way around here, and he's going to have a big leg there, and a couple of little hands, and we'll just give him, oh, he's missing something on his face that's very important even for a herbivorous T-Rex, which would be his very chompy teeth. Okay, so this is a herbivorous T-Rex who also needs a name. I might go Herb the herbivorous T-Rex. Okay, so this is Herb. Now, every Halloween, the people of the village would leave out a little bowl of lollies for Herb, who largely eats vegetables. See what I did there? I got vegetable into our story. But for the last 2 years, ever since Harold, the greedy ghost, has been in the cave, every time Herb has turned up to collect his little Halloween bowl of lollies, they've not been there because there's been none. And all the villagers, meanwhile, have run away, you know, like they've all hightailed it because they're terrified of the ghost. So there's just nobody there making lollies and keeping Herb's little bowl of sugar going. So Herb gets really angry when he finds out about this ghost, and he starts having a fight. So with a good story, you always need a bit of a problem, like a conflict, because I find that if you've got a problem you have to surmount, it gives you some good drama, some good action, good something to try and work out as you're going. So these dudes have a great big fight because they're both on a sugar rush, clearly, right? Well, this one's certainly on a sugar rush, and this one wants, you know, he wants some more lollies. He's not getting enough. So they have this great big fight, and this fight, like, you know, a conflict between neighbors or friends, it has ramifications and it affects the villagers terribly. And so, you know, every Halloween now, for the last 2 years, the villagers have had this stomping and roaring and booing, and it's like rocks are falling down from the mountain and they're falling on the village, and it's terrible. They don't know what to do. So eventually, this is what you need in a story too, some kind of resolution. Often they decide, they have a kind of like a village conference, and they decide they have to get rid of the sugar. Because they're going, look, these two dudes, it's just causing us so much mayhem. If we get rid of the sugar altogether, Harold the greedy ghost will come in, he won't find anything. He'll go and find another place to go and find sugar. He'll go and grow his own sugar canes for all we know, but there won't be anything here for him. So what they do is they decide to create a little vegetable plot in their village. And in this vegetable plot, they grow all sorts of things: carrots, lettuces, cabbages. What's your most unfavorite vegetable? I bet they grow that. Lots of beans, you know, lots of windy things. They grow all sorts of vegetables. And this particular Halloween night, when it comes to the dinosaur and the ghost, and they're about to have a big fight, and the dinosaur herd is coming down to the village to find, no, they know that the ghost is coming in to try and raid the village. So what they do is they hand over a great big bowl of freshly grown veggies, and they fill up their houses with these freshly grown vegetables. And they're slightly nervous, but that's basically what they offer to the greedy ghost. And guess what Harold says? Instead of going, boo, oh, where am I? I'm here. Harold goes, ooh, I'm not eating that. So he's a ghost that says ooh, not a ghost that says boo. So he goes, ooh, yuck. And he runs away and goes to somewhere else, and they leave a great big bowl of freshly grown strawberries out for Herb, the herbaceous T-Rex, herbivorous T-Rex. And he has never been happier in his whole life because he loves strawberries. Wow, okay, so that's that is probably the world's most terrible story.
No, that was amazing. Thank you.
That's how hard it is to write a story. And often, while I'm thinking of it, I start thinking of rhymes, like while I'm mucking around. And I kept thinking, the ghost with the most, like he's got the most lollies. And I was thinking, the dinosaur who wants more. So, you know, you could end up with a title that's something like The Ghost with the Most versus the Dinosaur Who Wants More. But you can make up your own rhymes after you have a structure. And that was really fun seeing that ending with offering vegetables instead of lollies, because I know that lots of kids out there will be hoping that really, really doesn't happen this evening. But I think it's a really good idea. I think I'm going to put a whole lot of carrots in the bowl and go, there you go, guys, knock yourselves out. I'll be the most popular trick or treat house.
Yes, indeed.
Story time.
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you. It was a really, really awesome insight to see how, I guess, how you take an idea or even the words and then, you know, turn it all into this story through all your illustrations. And yeah, it reminds me of like ancient sort of artwork. I wonder if like, and if you left that chalkboard and hundreds and centuries on, excavators come across it and how they'd interpret it.
Yeah, true. They think that we live with ghosts and dinosaurs. They'll go, she was drawing the animals that lived on her farm. There was a ghost in a cave, and I absolutely made it up. I always want to get back in there and start fixing the drawing now. I want to go back in and make my mountains look like mountains and rub some things out and put some. But I should say to kids who are older who love writing and drawing, just throw it all down, because your first set of ideas are kind of like a big vomit, and you go, you know, put them all down on the paper. And you can go back in later and tidy them up and cut out bits and make things better. But sometimes just that big explosion of an idea is a really neat thing to have. And it's quite enjoyable. And you can fix it up later. And a huge amount of writing picture books in particular, or shorter books, is editing them down and pulling them in so that, you know,
that sounds like a really important part of the process, is just getting it all down, even when writing, right? If anything, so you don't forget it.
And not all your ideas are good, but there is a certain magic in that really initial enthusiasm, and I can see it in some books that I read. I go, oh, they had enormous fun with this concept.
Yeah.
They may have taken a huge amount longer to draw the pictures or something, but you can usually see that little bit of magic, which is in an idea. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Okay. Hey, thank you for that. Let's move on to some questions some of the schools had. Now,
did you want me to read Lion Guards the Cake?
Oh, yes, yes. Sorry. Yes.
No, if you want me to do that, I'll do that now, because then it will probably answer some of the questions.
Yeah. No, let's definitely do it. Sorry,
That's all right.
There.
I have to do the screen share thing again to work out how to do this. But before I do, I'll just tell you a little bit about this story, which is Lion Guards the Cake. And this story, all I knew when I started was I had the words, the house is quiet, no one's awake, and Lion guards the cake. And I love that little riff. And I was thinking about it in bed at night going, because when we think of animals in stories, they often come with a set of characteristics. Like lions, we think of, proud, big guardians, see them on gateposts by expensive houses. And I used all that stuff that we already have in our minds about certain characters and put it into my story. So that's where we're going with Lion Guards the Cake. I'll just try and screen share this for you again. And you should have a big black screen there. Oh, I was going to show you this. These were the actual cookies that my friend's kids made and sent me. And that's how the idea for Cookie Boo happened, because I was looking at these and they just made me laugh. I thought they were the funniest cookies. And when I wanted to illustrate them, I kind of wanted to make them that messy and that accidental. But, marketing and particular countries and the way things are produced, they ended up looking a lot more real and a lot more sort of cartoony in a way. These guys were a little bit scary when I started drawing them. They got a bit out of control. So back to this one, Lion Guards the Cake. And are we ready? Lion Guards the Cake by me, Ruth Paul. Oh, look, his eyeball's moving. Harumph. This is a very grumpy lion sitting on top of his gatepost. Not sure what's going to happen. Lion sits above the yard, hour by hour, keeping guard. But in the dusk, he slips his post quietly, like a golden ghost, and goes to where he's needed most. The house is quiet. No one's awake. And Lion guards the cake. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd trust that lion with that cake, but through the hallway dimly lit, little by little, bit by bit, mice creep up a little bit more. They tiptoe under the kitchen door where they see a big fat paw. They skitter and scatter across the floor. Run! Lion checks the cake. He licks the crumbs around the plate and gently pats the edges straight. You ever done that? You just kind of like clean it up a little bit. Then, once again, the house is quiet. No one's awake. And Lion guards the cake. Along the porch creeps Whiskery Cat, a little bit greedy, a little bit fat. She pokes her head through the pussycat door, squeezing in tight just a little bit more when she sees a big fat paw with a very sharp claw. Meow! She scarpers away a little bit sore. And just to be sure, Lion checks the cake. He straightens up a wobbly bit and jiggles the pieces to make them fit. You ever done that? You know, where you kind of accidentally eat like a whole piece and then you have to squash all the other pieces together to make it look like you haven't. Anyway, then once again, the house is quiet. No one's awake. And Lion guards the cake. Doesn't look like he's doing a very good job there. Stretching up brick by brick, up to the window, lickety-lick, dog is scrabbling, feet off the floor. He's almost there, just a little bit more, when he sees a big fat paw with a very sharp claw, and hears a snore. In through the window, open wide, cheek by jowl, side by side, dog and cat are foes no more. The mice are squeezing under the door when all of them see, what do they see? a big fat paw with more than one claw, and they hear not a snore, but a roar. The cake goes crashing across the floor. Oh no, man, that's not supposed to happen. It isn't much of a cake anymore. It's a sugary wreck, a toothsome mess. Who should clean up? Huh? Lion? Yes. Little by little, piece by piece, he snaffles the crumbs and lickety sweeps. It's a heavenly chore. But his tummy is sore. Oh, the house is quiet. No one's awake. And Lion has eaten the cake. Lion, was that a mistake? He licks his paw. In truth, it's safer than ever before. Who would dare to steal a crumb from a cake inside a lion's thumb? But even so, deep down inside, a rumbling upsets his liony pride. If the house awakes and there isn't a cake, what will they think? His mandibles ache. I think they'll know it's him. That's what he's worried about. With little time left before the light, Lion decides to put things right. A pawful of this, a mouthful of that, some succulent bits, lickety splat, into the bowl to mix and make, then squishity squash and onto the plate. Bit by bit, the sun will rise. And when it does, surprise! Oh, look at that cake. Ugh. Yuck, help. It's got a fork in it. It's got some candles, got, tomato sauce from the looks of it. Lion returns to his post by the gate. There's work to do and no time to wait. The house is a riot now all are awake. Can you see someone in that house saying, is that broccoli? But Lion guards the cake. The end. I will stop my screen share and bring you back. Hello.
Awesome, thank you. I'd let my daughter know that I was speaking to you today, and she was so excited about because the Lion Guards cake is one of my kids' favorite. I initially bought it for my son, but then my daughter Florence actually loves it as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, and the lion reminds me so much of her when she's baking with her mother. It's really funny.
I have to say, when I was writing it, that terrible cake that the lion tries to make himself at the end, it did remind me of parents on that night before your kid's birthday, where you realize that you've completely forgotten that you were supposed to make a cake, and some other parent always makes, like Thomas the Tank Engine, perfectly with everything in the right spot, or a 3-tiered, kind of fancy thing. And mine always ended up looking like I'd run out of flour and I'd thrown some oats and horrible things into a bowl. And so it kind of reminded me a bit of me being Lion. I'm like, I was going to make a cake before the morning.
Yeah. Florence loves to like fix things and then better fix that. And
yeah, we all know that. And I have to say, actually, the 2 stories I've read you this morning, they both have what I would call quite ambiguous endings, where, often in a storybook, it's really nice to just tie it all up and put a cherry on top and say, and that's how it finishes. But with both of those stories, there's actually a little bit to go away and think about and go, like the lion, was he guarding the horrible cake in the house, or was he guarding that delicious cake that was in his belly already, And that would just make me go, yeah, he's a bit of a greedy lion. He hasn't really changed his technique, but he's keen to try and make amends if he can. It's not perfect, a bit like all of us. Yeah.
His heart's in the right place.
Yeah. When I said that, I am perfect. Actually, I forgot to say that, but he's just Lion's still getting there. Yeah.
Awesome. That's really cool. Hey, thank you for those readings. It's really they're both really wonderful books. I hadn't had a chance to read the Cookie Boo one, but yeah, thanks very much. Let's move on to some questions, and one pretty important question here from Onehunga Primary School. What is your favorite type of cookie?
Oh, Interesting. I'm not a fan of chocolate, gotta say. Don't like chocolate very much. So that means can I make it not a cookie and make it like near a cookie, like a sweet thing?
Yep.
Because I like a rum baba, which is like this pastry filled with rum and stuffed full of cream. And to me, that is the most ridiculous, delicious kind of. No, I shouldn't be telling you about rum, should I? It's just a flavor, just a flavoring. And they're really, really great. Otherwise, quite like a good Afghan cookie. Yeah, very simple, very plain. Yeah.
Yep.
Chocolate rum, mind you. Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like an Afghan. I think my favorite is just the classic. I love chocolate. I've got a sweet tooth, so chocolate chip
Look what
cookies.
happened to the guy behind you there from eating all that chocolate. So,
That's true.
you gotta be
Yep,
careful.
the bones are there, but no teeth. Cool. All right. Next question is from Makariwa School. Now, they had a couple here. So, did you always think you were going to be an author, illustrator, or was it you kind of stumbled on it and be a surprise?
I always loved writing and illustrating my stories and my picture, in my school books, even when I was at primary school. And actually, going to do this again. I'm going to screen share once more because I do happen to have here. I think they're on this slide. Let me have a look. Yes, that was can you see that?
Yep.
I found that as an adult, and that's a story I wrote in my primary school book when I was, I don't know, 7 maybe. And it was all about my school holidays. And then these were pictures that I drew then that I found in that book. And look, I was no better at drawing than anybody else at that age. I just really loved doing it. I do not know what's going on there. Something very dangerous. And yeah, I was just showing you those to go to say that I always loved, I loved illustrating the edges of my pages and making everything kind of look like fun. But what I've discovered later in life is you get really good colored pencils and you get really good felt pens when you're working, and you get really good computers that you can draw and all those things. Just the pleasure in drawing when you were little, even though my pencils never worked and I only had a green when I needed a red and an orange and a purple. Just keep doing it because it's fun. And then one day when you're older, you can have all the fancy tools. You just need to like being able to draw and write. Yeah. Did that make any sense?
Yeah, it does completely. I guess, drawing and creating artwork and stuff like that, you can use anything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have stopped screen sharing, haven't I?
Yeah, you have. Yep.
Good.
Yep. And another question they had was, what is your favorite place in the world and why?
It's kind of like a generic favorite place in the world because I adore swimming in fresh water. So be it lake water or river water, and there's some incredible places in Aotearoa, like hidden pockets that you can swim in. And I've managed to find these amazing little spring lakes in the middle of mountains or wherever. And apparently I'm not allowed to tell people about quite a few of them because all the neighbors go, no, we don't want anyone knowing. And I love that, being in the bush and finding a beautiful body of water that's not contaminated, doesn't have, rock slime and stuff in it. And I love swimming in that water and it makes me feel fantastic. And even the sea is great, but the sea is more difficult because I don't like seaweed. I'm quite scared of it. And little fish. But yeah, swimming in the fresh water, that would be my favorite place in New Zealand to be whenever I can find it.
Yeah. There's something very different about swimming in like fresh water, isn't there? And using the word fresh is just perfect because you always come out feeling fresh and for some reason a lot cleaner and fresh and revitalized.
Yeah, a few weeks ago I jumped in to Lake Taupua and had a swim, and it was still too cold, and I managed to ace it in there and get in there for like 30 seconds. But honestly, felt like I lost 10 years of my life. I'm gonna, market this as a how to become younger in 10 seconds. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Cool. Now, St. Joseph's School, Pleasant Point. What is your favorite scary story?
Oh, I'm a coward. I hate scary stories. I've never watched horror movies. Like I start and go, run away. And partly it's because I know that what I put in, I carry around with me. So if I read really scary stuff or watch really horrible stuff, I carry it around, and visually I dream about it and things like that. So I'm like, this is about as scary as I get for a scary story. I love Winnie the Witch. I've always loved Winnie the Witch by Corky Paul and Valerie Thomas. And it's just not because Corky Paul, the illustrator, has the same surname as me, just saying. We could be related, but we're not. And I adore Winnie the Witch, and I think they're really funny stories, and they're not too scary. If you think about it, with picture books, lots of books are kind of scary stories. The Gruffalo is a scary story about a monster. Where the Wild Things Are is a scary story about a monster. And my friend has written this book, Masha, about a puppet that comes to life and takes over. And that's really funny. It's a really good story. I was also going to show you this, because this is in my special book collection that I have at home. This is an amazing, huge book by Clotilde Perron. And look at this witch. So what happens with each of these characters is they open up. Can you see that? Like, she gets a really long nose and she gets her witch's hat. And this cape opens up. And inside she's got a dress. And inside the dress, there's a little cat. And if you take the cat out, you can open up her dress. And inside her dress, she's got all sorts of things going on. Like, there's a shelf with poison and spells and charms and magic, and a little boy locked up in a cage. And if you lift that up, she's got love heart underpants. And I just think that's hilarious. So that's a scary illustration rather than oh, I've got to put the cat back. Oh no, I've lost the cat. So yeah, I like scary picture books, not a big one for scary adult stories. Oh, actually though, we'll tell you, my mother used to sing us the scary song. So really old people out there might remember this song. And it was about the hearse, which is the vehicle that takes the coffin to and from the funeral home, you know. And it went like this. I'm going to sing you the first bit because the first bit's okay in my singing. Whenever you see the hearse go by, just think of the day you're going to die. Oh, ahoo, ahoo. And then there's a million verses about really horrible things, and you can make them up as you go along, as long as you can get the rhyme right. So even a song is a story, you know. That's what I remember. I remember that song.
Yeah, I remember lots of nursery rhymes that I grew up with and stuff. If you think about them, they're actually quite scary, right?
But I think that's again what we were saying before. It's like, you know, it's horrible to sing a funny story about death, but we're all in the same boat. And maybe Halloween makes everybody go, come on, we're all people. Let's just laugh at it, take the pressure off, because it's always horrible.
Yeah.
And we just have this moment where we make fun of ourselves, really, and our fears.
Yeah, can't take things too seriously. Yeah. Cool. Now, so Mabel at Ridgeway School, if you were to choose a favorite character out of all of your books, who would it be and why?
Oh, okay. This one, I think it's Jellyfish. I am Jellyfish, because I actually think I am Jellyfish. And I wrote this about a little critter that, you know, people look at her and go, what do you do? There's no point to you. You just hang around. You don't do much in the ocean. You're just there. And she's quite chill being just there. She drifts and she dreams, and, you know. And then one day when she gets chased down into the dark part of the ocean, all the other creatures see what she does. You know, she glows, and she's got a really big sting in her tail that can sting other creatures. And she has these hidden powers and depths that nobody knows about unless they're called into action. So I don't know that I have that, but I really love the idea of a jellyfish who's just chill, just cruising, and then kind of goes, well, if you push me, you know. So that's, yeah, I quite like I am Jellyfish.
Oh, cool. Now Nina from Ridgeway School again, wants to know, what book took you the longest to write?
Oh, I think they all take me a really long time to write. Like I can take a year to write a book, even though they're really short. They're often 700 words or less. And it's because I will be thinking about it for a while. You know, you'd be mucking around with it. One day you'll come back to it 3 months later and you go, oh, you know, and you'll find a way of doing it. Sometimes I write a story 6 different ways, different characters, different settings. I Am Jellyfish and Lion and yeah, all of them take quite a long time to write. And even this one, which has got very, very few words, I took ages writing that because I had to work out who all the dinosaurs were. There's lots of thinking. It's not just the words, it's the thinking around how it works before you get down to the few words that you're left with. So yeah, they all take a while.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like what you mentioned before, you know, you dump everything down and then you put it, you develop different ideas once you've got it there, but then it's not always perfect straight away. So like you said, you've got to go away, come back. Yeah.
And every so often there will be a perfect straight away one where you just go, cookie boo is really quite a simple idea and a simple, straightforward way of doing it. Because the minute I knew that I wanted kids to say boo, like, and start leaping around the sofa with their parents or whatever, that led to its own, you know, you're going to chase somebody somewhere and then chase them back again. And that was quite simple. So yeah. Sure.
Now, I thought this question here from Mrs. Drake's Katikati Oranga School, it kind of leads on to this question, which is quite cool. So what advice would you give kids who say, no, I can't be bothered to edit my writing, it's fine?
Well, you know how I told you before that I'm perfect. So, you know, theoretically, everything I put down first time should be just perfect. But sadly, I have come to discover that I'm deluded and I'm not perfect, and ideas are never perfect. There's sometimes something in them that's brilliant. And a good teacher will go, come on, there's a bit more in that. And that's what a good editor does when I'm working on a story. They'll go, hey, this bit's really funny. We love this bit. Don't like that bit. Can you change that? Can you bring out more of this? And there's all sorts of different reasons, because you've got a reader out there. Like, I'm just writing it and I might think it's the most brilliant piece of writing I've ever done. Don't need to do anything else. But a reader is coming to it with no concept of what was in my head. And possibly I didn't communicate well enough what I was trying to say, and I didn't use the right word to give the mood that was in my head. And sometimes other people can see that so much more clearly. Also with drawing, it's kind of a weird thing, but it's like your brain just takes for granted all the stuff you know, and it doesn't explain half of it to other people. So when I do a drawing, I'll look at it and go, oh, my drawing's really great, that's great. If I look at that drawing in a mirror, like hold it up and look at it in a mirror, it's entirely different. And I can look at it and go, oh no, the head's out of whack and the arm's in the wrong place. And it's just because I've flipped it, and my brain is so used to looking at it in one direction. Look at it in the mirror or flip it on your computer and your brain sees it entirely differently. Do that as a little test afterwards. Do a little drawing of something, go look at it in the mirror and your brain will see it totally differently. It's really funny. So writing is like that. You need someone else to see it and often tell you how to help it make sense.
Oh, cool. That makes sense. Like, sometimes it's hard, you get lost in your own mind, right? And
but you don't believe that your own mind plays tricks on you, but it does.
Yeah.
Like, see things in particular is really odd. When you change your perspective, flip the picture around on your phone, you see things so differently when you flip the way you're used to looking at them.
Oh, cool. All right. So I think we've run out of time for any more questions. But it's time to announce our winners. So, Ruth, can I get you to pick 2 numbers between 1 and 70?
Like, just any number?
Any numbers.
My favorite number, 32.
Okay, 32. Oh,
do I say anything? Do I do another number? Okay.
And more number, yeah.
49.
49. Okay. Yeah. 32 and 49. Hold the line, caller. So we have the 2 winners are Bree from Queen Margaret College and Anya
Woo!
from Green Bay School.
Yay! Sorry, did I yell over
Congratulations.
the last one? I think I yelled over you saying the last name.
Oh, Anya from Green Bay School.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Jazz hands.
It's a beautiful book, lovely story. Awesome. Okay, hey, look, firstly, thank you so much for coming on board on this journey on New Zealand's Great New Zealand Book Trip. It's such a privilege to have you here, and it was a wonderful insight to have through your creative process, and have you even read your books to us. Just gives such a lovely sort of context and where it's all come from. So thanks so much.
Cool. And kia ora, thank you so much for having me. It's just an honor to share your stories with people, and I know you're all different ages, and it's really cool, and I wish I could meet you all, and maybe one day I will, and do come up and say hello if we're ever at the same place. And ka kite anō.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining us. Happy Halloween. If you're going trick-or-treating, make sure you brush your teeth tonight, and brush it maybe twice even, because you don't want to end up like this guy with no teeth.
No.
Okay, thank you, and ka kite.